and welcome back to another episode of Green Hospitality Talks. I'm Amy Wald, your host, and we're going to bring you all good things, all conversations about visionary hoteliers, sustainable hospitality, and especially in this episode, we have Bria Gouchard. Hi, Bria. How are you?
Great. How are you, Amy?
I'm doing well. I'm very excited about our conversation. The beautiful, the talented Bria and I met a few months back already. Oh my gosh, when I was lucky enough to visit Long Bay Resort in the British Virgin Islands. So she is coming to us from somewhere fabulous. I unfortunately am in Columbus, Ohio. Nice place, but not as fabulous as the British Virgin Islands. So, how is your day today?
My day has been going amazing. I'm just happy to be back in office. As you're privy to, I've been under the weather. So I'm just happy to be back and going strong, seeing a few of our guests. The season is a bit slow right now, but I'm still grateful to be able to interact with guests and see them arriving to the resort. Having my fantastic team with me as well. So I'm happy.
Wonderful. Well, that kind of that's an island philosophy, though. I feel like you don't take things as seriously. We could lend some of those attributes here in the States, I think. But
I
you know, I've been seeing so much about you and your team, and I was able to witness it firsthand. Unfortunately, my husband and I only got one night at Long Bay, but it left us wanting more. And it left me wanting to have a conversation with you. I was really intrigued. The resort is doing a lot of sustainability initiatives, and it is such a stunning. I mean, just I can't say enough good things. I have never been to the British Virgin Islands, and it was the perfect opening door for me, I feel like. So tell us a little bit about you and how you came to Long Bay, and we'll take it from there.
Sure. So my full name is Bria Gouchard. I'm 29. I'm making 30 in a few weeks, actually. I'm a Cancer, June 24th. And
Ah.
I'm actually looking forward to that celebration, by the way.
Yes, yes, you
Um,
should. 30s are great. And with that face, you girl, you're doing good.
Thank you. I was, I was born and raised in the British Virgin Islands, grew up in the British Virgin Islands, did my education here. I also went off to Missouri, Joplin, Missouri, very small, close-knit town. And that's where I did my studies, came back home, and my background is finance. So I was an accounts manager for some years, joined Long Bay as their finance manager, and just quickly over a turn of 3 years, just worked my way up to become the general manager, which is the position that I hold today. I am also a mom of two, a boy and a girl. And yeah, I love cats, as you know, Amy. So I'm a huge animal lover. I'm also, involved in the community in different ways, and even more so now that I have this capacity in the different avenues through Long Bay, it makes it even much better for me as well to ensure that we have that corporate responsibility. Yeah, that's pretty much. And I'm a coffee lover. I think all my staff members know that. So yeah, that sums it up.
We have so many things in common. I knew I liked you the minute I met you. But coffee lover, cat lover, community lover, we have a lot of that. Yes, and I feel as though although I know Long Bay does a really good job at it, that's something really special though about the islands is
Yeah.
that community involvement. And it really comes before other things
It
where and
it
then
really does, because that's where it starts. I mean, some businesses, they're like, okay, we don't need to care about anything else but our customers, the paying customers. But we need to understand that reputation is the key to success. And if you have a community that is backing and behind of you as a company, that in itself, there's benefits there. There's hidden benefits there. So if Long Bay wants to do something, we join in with the community because they're also our supporters as well. When the season is slow, the community is who comes down and to the restaurant and support us the most. So we always try to give back.
Yeah, there is that reciprocity that I think sometimes gets overlooked.
Yeah.
So that's a really good point. Okay, so what are some other hidden benefits of that community engagement?
Of course, sometimes we go through the whole, black and white way of doing things. You know, you can become friends, you build a rapport, and it's like, hey,
Yes.
can you do me that little favor? Can you,
Yes.
can you ask your auntie for me, please? You know? So you kind of gain this connection so that it makes doing business a little bit easier. I'm not saying we're bribing, but if you know a guy that know a guy that know a
Yeah.
guy, you
But you know what? What you just explained was network, right?
well, that's true.
And no, but I wasn't saying that to be, smart, but I was saying it to if we thought about more about the community as a network, and vice versa, I think, that would just lend so much more because building those relationships, when you do that for the right reasons in the beginning, it always pays off. And you're
It
like, wow,
because Tortola, the BVI on a whole is very close knit, very small. There are a lot of families that are linked together. So when you think you know Paul, and then you just met George, and then you find out later on that Paul and George are cousins, and you're like, okay. So
this is working out even better. Yes.
it's a tight community, and then you're like, oh, I didn't know that. And then you start to weave the web and you put things together. So it works out. So having the community on your side and ensuring that you also contribute to their success, such as
Sure.
the schools, the community centers, the government, the districts that are trying to do stuff with the community, just try your best to support them in any way.
And I would think that also behooves you from a talent pool also, right? For being able to hire people that want to come work for you.
Yes, of course, because the more you network, you get to know. For example, I'll bring back up the Paul and George. Okay, Paul's niece just graduated.
This feels like a real example.
Paul's niece kid just graduated out of hospitality school, and she's coming back home. And you're like, here's my business card. The season is about to start again. We're gonna need new staff members. So that's how you kind of save on advertising costs, like advertising for roles, where it's good to gain that connection, so you tap into the labor pool, so this person and what they specialize in, what they went to school to study. So that's where it's good to network and talk to people.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. And my, not to talk about me, but I resonate a lot with this because I started working on cruise ships. That was my beginning of building my business. I didn't know it at the time, but I only use that example because I really was looking around from the cruise ships into these communities that we were going in, and it just didn't feel like we were community building. And I felt like there was a gap and a missing link between that business and the community. And so that's what I've really tried to, help use as a guiding light for my business. So I love that you brought that full circle for me anyway. And I hope for the listeners also. But let's back up a little bit with just Tortola, the BVIs, because as I mentioned previously, I had never been to the BVIs. I always, thought of it as a sailing destination or a, boating destination, which it absolutely is. But we came as land travelers, if that's what you call it. So tell us a little bit about the history of BVIs, not a whole history lesson, but from an insider, BVIs, Tortola, what really makes it unique from the Caribbean? Because I'll tell you, I love the Caribbean. But I'm the kind of person that usually goes somewhere and is like, I loved it. I've been there. I want to move on to the next. But I want to come back to the BVI. It's like, I mean that genuinely. I loved it. There was just something about it that really makes me want to come back. Granted, there's more places than we saw, so maybe that's it. But tell us about it.
And that's the whole BVI effect, because we're known as nature's little secret, which we kind of are, because you could barely see us on the map, on the world map, first of all. But then when you come to the BVI, there's like this magnetic pull. Why? Because first of all, we have a lot of islands that makes up the BVI. So each time you come to the BVI, you can experience a different type of BVI. You can spend your vacation on Tortola. You can come back and spend it in Virgin Gorda. You can spend it in just Van Dyke. Or if you want to experience all the islands all in one, you can island hop within an entire day. And each island has a different dining experience, a different feel, a different vibe. The people are different. So I think that's what makes it so special. You get a different curated experience with each island that you visit. And we just have that authentic warmth about us, or everywhere is beautiful. Like as I got older, that's when I really started to appreciate my home. Every time I wake up and I'm driving and I'm looking over the hills, I'm like, gosh, this place is just beautiful. And I get to live here. I get to experience it. And
what a great feeling.
It is. And for me, every time I get a little moment, I go on another island. Like I would spend the weekend and do a staycation. And it always feels like I'm in a new place every time. It feels like I just came here for the first time. And it just gets better over time, Amy. It's amazing.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. Even though I don't know that, but I could feel that, and I can't wait to come back. Yeah. Okay, so is there a favorite? I don't know. Give us an insider secret, because we're going to talk all about Long Bay. But if you're on Tortola, what's like a secret place that only locals know about, or you would recommend going that somebody probably wouldn't know to go to? Wherever, whether it's an attraction, whether it's a restaurant, cafe, anything come to mind?
What comes to mind? A secret place.
I hit you up with that. That was.
I feel like no place is a secret because we talk a lot. So if you find a hidden beach, a little cove somewhere, you just go in and that's like your beach picnic spot. And then you go back and then somebody else is there.
Okay, all right. Well,
but it's beautiful. Again, the BVI is beautiful. There's so many hidden treasures, and you have to experience it, Amy. When you come back, you have to do an island hopping experience. You have to.
Yeah, we did go to another island, but we won't talk about them right now. Well, we're gonna focus on Tortola and Long Bay, and but I loved my time. So yeah, let's talk about Long Bay. It is a really special place. The pictures, and I think I told you this when I met you, but sometimes you look at pictures online and it's like, wow, that place is gorgeous. And you get there and you're like, oh, it's nice. But, it didn't wow me beyond the pictures. This was like, this place is way more stunning in person than it was in pictures. So give us all the goodies about the hotel. You guys have won tons of awards.
Yes.
How do you sell it?
Well, for Long Bay, for me, I don't force it. I don't force it at all. I take my time, with the rooms and the landscaping and beautifying the property. But for us, we don't force it. We just want to make sure that everything we do is authentic and it's carefully thought of. And not only that, we look at the impact of the guests, the impact of the staff. So for us, our main thing is just authenticity. And what you see is really what you get. Mm-hmm. Every morning at 7 a.m., the maintenance team is on the go to make sure that what we sell in images online, when you come down, you're going to make sure that those hedges are cut. You're going to make sure that the pool is crystal clear. You're going to make sure that everything is as we're selling it, because we know that there's some guests that are very detail oriented and they would mention and compare to online versus what they see, especially with the rooms. So we make sure we're very meticulous in that sense.
I'll tell you what, there's going to be some good nuggets if you're a hotelier watching this, because that, when you're thinking about selling it online, which is the way everyone travels now, especially if you're going far away, how often are you doing an audit based on what you look like online versus what you look like in person? So that is a really powerful tip.
And it does save you in the long run, because if you continue with that standard, because for me, one of my biggest challenges in this industry is the consistency, because you're relying on other persons to carry out the vision. You're relying on other persons to make sure that the rooms are standard, to make sure that the labels are facing front with each bottle every day, every time, every arrival. So it depends on the staff. So that's where a lot of training comes in, and a lot of reiteration of the same thing over and over and over again. We never get tired of telling staff about the same things over and over again. Even if they're doing it, we're still telling them about it because we want it to stick. We wanted them to know that this is what we're selling. This is the product that we're selling. You know, if a guest comes, this is what they're supposed to be receiving. They're paying their money. They're going through hoops to get here. So we have to make sure that we live up to what we advertise online.
And you do, you know, for the listeners, just so you know, this is a very, you know, I was thinking about our conversation and like how I would describe it. And it's very sophisticated, but yet a little bit understated. Everything's all natural.
Describe it, Amy. Sorry to cut you off. Just think about it like your backyard. Just
Okay.
You can take off your shoes and walk on the lawn.
Yes.
And we have guests that walk without shoes and they have a drink in their hand. They have on sunglasses. They're flowing and you're passing them. And you're like, how are you doing? And they're like, we're awesome. We're great. And they're about their business. They're just enjoying the ambiance. First of all, the place is lush, it's green, it's beautiful. So you already have that nice, warm feeling, you know, like for me, when I come to work every day, I just feel like I'm at I'm at a resort, but it just doesn't feel like work.
Like work, yes, yes. Just to clarify, it is a resort, Bria.
It doesn't feel like work at all.
Sure.
I come and I wear on my linen. Most of the time I like linen because of the atmosphere. It's hot and it's also breezy. So, you have that nice vibe going, you're flowing. It just feels so great. It feels amazing.
No, you're exactly right. You get that instant nature boost.
Yes.
That serotonin, like the natural serotonin. But then you have that contrast of everything that's white. And so that's why I was talking about, that lends this like really fresh, sophisticated feeling. And then you use all natural woods.
Yes.
So there's a little bit of it that reminds me, and they probably stole it from you, but one hotel really leans into like reclaimed wood and that. So just to kind of give a vision, and everybody's going to go to the website and we're going to put it in, but it's even better because I'll tell you, we walked into our room and the view and this, when you come from the States or you don't live coastal, to sleep in a room where you hear the ocean at such a powerful rate that we did is like such a luxury. And it was just incredible.
And that helps with the ambiance. And sometimes persons use like ocean sounds, like with the sounds of waves to sleep. And that's the whole point. I feel like everything was carefully and meticulously curated for that experience, having all white everywhere. Because, colors affects your mood. Sure. It really does. And having that all
so does
white.
Rum Punch. Just
and
so
rum,
that's sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're telling our secret. This is how we get the guests in the mood. We give them rum punches on arrival. I'm just playing, but it does affect your mood. And the reclaimed wood, the reason why we're gearing towards having all of our furniture being like wooden is because we are able to also manipulate them. We're able to refurbish them, so we don't have to always be importing furniture.
Yes.
We don't always have to be spending additional money on furniture. We can manipulate them. We can reconstruct something similar. We can do like a mimic, a mock-up of us. So it really does help us a lot.
And, you said it a couple of times, but thoughtfully, that is the word that keeps coming to mind for me because it is very... it's a little, it's not over the top luxury, but it is luxury, but yet the right elements of luxury in there. Byredo, beautiful, they have the most beautiful smelling lotion and shower gel, the biophilic, and I don't know if that was on purpose, but there's a lot of biomimicry and biophilic design and, just to engage those senses.
The coral in the shower. That's beautiful.
The shower. is ridiculous. The picture window in the shower. I can't wait. I haven't posted that one yet because I'm not naked. But it was just like, I have never been in a hotel that had that picture window in the shower. It's just amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
So we know that, the islands are much further ahead when it comes to sustainability because it's not, we know we need it there, right? It's mandatory to stay afloat, literally. But take us through some of the sustainability implementations that you've had. And, can you think of one that, was really successful or, this podcast is really about helping hoteliers navigate those tricky areas. And because it does take a lot of thoughtfulness. So any insight in how you've navigated even complexities or challenges would be interesting to know.
Well, for me, it is challenging. Why? Because I think what happens I think right now persons are now, educated about sustainability. So they're designing and constructing a lot of the resorts and hotels based off of that. But for me, when it comes to Long Bay, I feel like it came from a place of resilience where you're rebuilding from the hurricane and you're trying to revive back this legacy of a resort, especially for the BVI in the Caribbean. Sometimes sustainability isn't always on the top of everyone's mind. We're trying to bring back and revive the hotel.
Absolutely.
We're trying to, get back our investment. We're trying to gain back our revenues and, just try and become the number one luxury resort on the island, which we once were. So sometimes sustainability isn't always on the top of the to-do list. So for me right now, my major challenge is trying to incorporate different measures in a structure that wasn't really, built for it.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. Example, like, electricity or electrical infrastructure. I can't just go and, rip all of that up and just go fully solar.
Sure.
The investment also is a lot. Have we talked about it? Yes. Have we looked into it? Yes. So the small implementations, like, changing our light fixtures for the outdoor and outside to solar, that's something that I could have taken control of and get implemented right away. So, measures for the rooms. When a guest checks out, we turn off the air conditions and we add in the bags that have the absorbent where it absorbs the moisture. So that would help a lot. Yes, because sometimes you have to leave the air condition on because you want the moisture and everything to mix up mildew, etc.
Yes.
We're putting those bags in to keep in the moisture. So we're trying different ways how the products that we buy, the linens, everything, make sure that it's, eco-friendly. Even our staff uniform, I'm looking on reviving and doing a whole new look for the staff for the new season. So we're partnering with Ocean R. I don't know if you know of that company.
Yeah, I love Ocean R. Yes. I think they also do the Waldorf linens and things for the staff. Yeah. Anyway, I love Ocean R.
They've also done it for Scrub Island. They've done it for Necker. They've done it for Peter Island as well. And I'm like, they're going to do it for Long Bay because this is where we want to go. We want to invest in this, in becoming more sustainable in any way that we can, even to our straws. Our straws are not plastic, they're paper. So we're trying like subtle ways to implement sustainable measures. Even for the environment as well, we protect a lot of the nesting areas for the turtles when they come at a specific time of the year. I think now is the time actually we're expecting one of them. The mangroves, the landscaping, the products that we use in the pool, the products that we use when we do our landscaping, and the pest control companies, they're also gearing towards sustainability, which is great. So we're trying in very subtle ways, and hopefully that what we do now has a greater impact over time.
Absolutely. And, I love that you're involving the staff as far as their uniforms, because I think that sends a really big message as well, right? We're considering them and they can be proud that they wear something.
Yes.
Yes. And, okay, not to call myself a guru, but I mean, when I travel, I'm always, that's what I do every day. And your organization really stood out to me. I was very impressed by everything you were doing. And one touch that I loved that you had just done was the room keys.
Yes.
Tell us about the room keys. And this I think is so important because it's one of those first impressions that you make with the guest, and whether they know it or not, it kind of maybe sparks a question and it's interesting. So tell us about it.
So for about 2 years, we had plastic cards for the room keys, and we've implemented about a year ago to have the wristbands, which has a small little chip inside of it that works really well. We no longer have to be, because sometimes the plastic cards they get misplaced, and then we have to keep reordering and reordering. And this allows it's fashionable. It allows for the guests to wear it, and sometimes they keep it as a keepsake.
Yeah,
Just
I
something.
did.
So it goes hand in hand. So it's sustainable, it's efficient, and it's a nice little keepsake. So, we
Yeah.
don't have to do too much. This is a small little gift. It's impactful. It means a lot, and it's sustainable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the materials were all natural.
Yeah.
It blended seamlessly with your brand and with the aesthetics of the
Yeah.
hotel. So I loved that.
Yeah.
So tell me, as you're looking ahead, you mentioned solar, but is there anything that's like really on your list that, you're like, I really want to do this. It's going to take some thought. Anything in the future that you're thinking about adopting?
Yes, and that goes hand in hand with food and beverage. We're looking on seeing how we can develop some of our underdeveloped land lots to
Okay.
see if we can expand, like, our farming. And yeah, to see if
I
we can
love that.
expand on that. We're doing it on a small scale, but if
Okay.
we could really develop that farm to table concept, that would help us a lot.
Oh, wow. I was not expecting that answer. I love that so much because the food is incredible. And I'll tell you, I don't recall what the name is. I'm sure you'll know, but I had a salad, I was trying to stay bikini ready while I was there. But I had the most delicious salad ever. And I think there was tofu on it. I don't remember. Anyway, it was for lunch, but it was, I mean, a salad is a salad, but
Yeah,
this was not just a salad. This was amazing, but the food was so good and it
thank
felt
you.
farm to table already. So, I mean, taking it up a notch,
Yeah,
knowing that it is all
that
farm to
would be
table would
great
be
for us,
incredible.
and it'll be great for the guests to know that we grew this. This was grown by us. We didn't import it.
Yep, yep.
It came from our backyard.
And more, again, so important how proud, just being so proud that it's from the country, it's from the people that live there, and just arming yourself with just one more way to be resilient on your own land and not have to, think about geopolitical issues and, logistics. That's just so important for island nations, which
It
I'm
is.
sure everybody understands,
It
but
is because we import 99.9%
yes,
of everything. So there's a global impact there. The
absolutely.
fuel, the emissions, all that extra stuff.
Even
So
cost, right? So
exactly, and the cost with shipping, and then the situations right now with the tariffs, and then you have to deal with taxes and import fees, brokerage, custom fees. There's so many costs when it comes to importation.
yes. Yes. Gosh, I love that. Great, great idea. I can't wait to see that unfold. So, Bria, tell me as we wrap up, first of all, what else can we tell the audience about Long Bay, about Tortola to get them to book their next trip?
Well, for Long Bay, we have a lot of amazing amenities that I'm hoping to implement into the new season. And it's not going to be overbearing, overpowering. It's going to be just fun relaxation. So I
Okay.
can't really take the cat out the bag right now.
Okay. All
But
right. Stay tuned.
as it pertains to the BVI, go ahead and book your flight. You're going to have an amazing time. We find that the visitors that come back, they're repeat visitors. They always come back. There's a special love for the British Virgin Islands globally.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
I
can
don't know,
attest.
Amy, I don't know what we do. There's just a special love for us.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Be proud of that. That's amazing. That's how I feel. It gave me a little bit of goosebumps because I was like, oh my gosh, I so want to come back here.
Yes,
Um,
I love what's been happening this year. The BVI Tourist Board, they posted their numbers in terms of like visitors, and we have been on demand in 2025. And based on how I see the pace of bookings into next year, it's not just the BVI, it's Long Bay as well. And sometimes I sit back and I'm in awe. I'm like, they want us, they're choosing us. So it
yeah,
kind of motivates you because you're like,
yes,
we have to make sure we're consistent and we're doing what we need to do because for some reason they're coming back and they love what they're seeing and experiencing. So that's amazing. And one thing I can let out the bag, Amy,
okay,
is
okay.
we're incorporating a booking package where it's a sail and stay experience
Ooh,
where
tell
you
me
can
more.
stay in the room. So you spend, 3 nights on land, let's say, and then you spend 2 nights out on our catamaran, where you have a chef, you have a private chef, you have a captain, you have a crew, and it's not just about Long Bay. We want you to also experience the BVI. We
Mhm.
want you to experience the BVI, support the local businesses,
Yeah,
sail to Virgin Gorda, go to the baths, experience all those beautiful national parks. So yeah, I think it
I
works
love
out. It
that.
works out
I
for
love
Long Bay,
that.
it works out for the BVI.
Absolutely. And I just want to mention real quick that, it's not just a hotel, there are shared residences
Yes.
as well, right?
I'm so sorry for the noise.
No, I didn't hear anything.
Yes, so above Long Bay, there are lovely Airbnbs.
Okay.
And yes, and we find that sometimes, the guests come down and we have to, watch their risk to make sure if they're resort guests, but we treat them all the same
But I
because
even mean right in Long Bay.
yeah, they're literally right in Long Bay.
No, but I mean the hotel sells,
Mhm.
right? Don't you have ownership opportunities for some
Oh,
of the,
yes,
yes.
definitely. We just finished one of those villas or Ocean Presidential Suite. I don't know if
Okay.
you had a glimpse of it while you were here.
I think we walked by. Yes.
Yes, but we're about to go really ham on the marketing for that.
Okay.
So you're gonna see some pictures and maybe some
Okay.
pictures of blast coming out just now. So we're trying to make sure that the finishing touches are just perfect. And the guests really love this new room type that's coming into play.
Sure.
So, and we have a few more villas that we want to um, construct and build over a period of time.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. For all those wealthy individuals watching out there, this is your
Yeah.
chance.
Go on longbayresidences.com if you're interested.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so to wrap up, I have been really pondering the question of, I've always I've loved hotels since I was really, really little. And that started with the Holiday Inn. This wasn't anything fancy, but it was everything from the sights, the sounds, the little boxes of cereal. And so I've been thinking about a lot about what does a visionary hotelier look like in 2020, in 2025 and beyond. So that's my question for you. What do you think a visionary hotelier looks like? Whether it's a manager, whether it's a hotel group, what comes to mind for you when you think of that phrase?
Visionary hotelier. Um, for one, is ensuring that the human element is always there because, technology is advancing very fast, with AI and, just everything. I myself can't keep up, but I want to make sure that, you're seeing the trends, you're seeing everything happening, and you're like, do I jump on that? Do I incorporate that? And then I'm like, no, we're gonna lose the human element of this, the guest interaction with this. So for example, like guest check-in, like the self check-in experience.
Okay.
I would never incorporate that at Long Bay. Why? Because I want the guests to interact with the staff. We don't want to
Yeah.
lose that human element. So I would say, you try and incorporate it slow and subtly, but make sure that, the experiences, it still has that balance. So when people think of visionary, of course, they're forward thinking of the future. So immediately we think about technology, but we have to remember we're going to lose that human element. And a lot of guests, they do travel for that human element because of where they're
Absolutely.
coming from. So that's my answer.
And you know what? I love that answer because I struggle with this myself. As a business owner, I use AI. It helps me, right, streamline processes sometimes. But when I think about it in hospitality, and I'm not a general manager and working, and so I never claim to be able to answer that question. But I know from a guest perspective, I value connection so much and I love that interaction, especially at a place like a destination such as the BVI's in Tortola. So I love that answer because I would never want that. Now, I'm sure there's guests that would, and there are certain hotels that that's the right change or transition for them. But I think in this category, I love that you're standing firm and not taking away that element. Okay,
Yes.
so next question and last question, and we're going to let you go on to the rest of your day. But finish this sentence for me. Sustainability in hospitality matters because
Our future depends on it.
drop the mic. She said it. I didn't.
No, honestly, Amy, if we really could get a glimpse into the next 50, 60 years, which we could kind of predict, like, scientists, everyone can predict what that would look like if we don't put certain measures in place, we would act on it now. We would be more progressive more than anything else. So.
Amen. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I did not pay her off, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
No, but you know what? Especially living in a coastal area, seeing storms change, that is front and center. So you're exactly right. We would be making changes happen much more rapidly if we could see into the future. But we're going to do what we can. And these kind of conversations, I hope, will inspire others out there to do what they can as well. So thank you for being a leader. Thank you for spending your time with me this afternoon. I greatly appreciate it. We are going to link in the show notes how to find Bria. You can link with her on LinkedIn. She's always sharing incredible stories about her staff. Of course, we're going to put Long Bay on there, and please go see them. You're going to be a raving fan. So take care, everyone. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube channel because we can't bring you these conversations without your support. And if you know a leader out there or a hotel brand that you would like us to feature, please let us know because these conversations are for you. Until next time, we will see you on the Green Hospitality Talks.